relationships. Art thou sometimes confusing and sometimes cruel? Now I know what you guys might be saying, but first of all, let me just say, I'm not gonna just sit here and call relationships bad. I'm not really saying that at all. I'm just saying that sometimes that some relationships can get out of hand. I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh man, no one should be in a relationship. No one should date anyone in high school. I'm not gonna sit here and say that, because I disagree with that. What I'm trying to say is that some relationships can get far too out of hand. Now, I know a lot of you are looking at me just like, oh, what does this guy have to say? What does this guy have to prove? He doesn't look like he's been in a relationship in his life. And you know what? You're absolutely right. I have never been in a relationship before. I do not know what it feels like to be in a relationship, but I've been around so much people that have to do with relationships and have to do with so much drama. Usually when some relationships go bad or someone needs advice on relationships, I'm always the one to turn to because I'm supposedly the wise one. I was called the wise one in middle school because I always gave relationship advice when I've never even been in a relationship before. In fact, it still confuses me on how I was actually able to give good relationship advice when I've never even been in a relationship. But anyway, getting back on topic. I'm not going to sit here and then just like just pound on how like dating is bad or anything like that because I've never been in a relationship before. But I just want to give my point based on what I've seen and what I've experienced throughout, like, how do I say it? I just want to give my opinion based on the events that I've witnessed and things that I had to deal with in my high school career. There are a lot of type of relationships that you can be in. For example, for some of the situations I've been in, I don't know if she's gonna watch this video right now, but I'm gonna not name names just so I don't get killed in the morning. So I have this friend who last year was dating this one person, and she was saying how like she was in love and all this other crap. I'm just like, I'll back off and let you deal with that. All of a sudden, because of some stupid situation, they broke up. Then after they broke up, there were like suicidal thoughts. There was like, he just came up in every conversation that we've ever had. And honestly, I know you're probably watching this video right now. That one friend. I'm here for you. I care about you. I do. But sometimes it does get annoying after a while. I mean, she's gotten better. She's gotten completely better this year. And I'm really proud of her for it. But sometimes a lot of people like to say that they are in love, which I think is complete bullshit, honestly. I know there are a lot of certain situations where there's like, you're dating one time in high school and then later on you get married and have kids. Yeah, that is a possible situation. But sometimes a lot of people think they know what love is. So what is love anyway? I mean, we're high schoolers, or adults, depending on who watches this video. I'm speaking from a high schooler here. High schoolers don't know what love is. We honestly don't. And if you guys want to disagree with me, or put it down in the comments, or whatever, saying that, no, I know what love is. Honestly, you can say whatever you want, and you're probably lying. I really don't think that there is a true definition on what exactly love is. I was actually in this situation before, and it involved the exact same friend. I thought I was in love. I thought like I would do anything for her, blah 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 blah, and then I realized I held back. I'm like, wait, what the hell am I doing? I'm just bullshitting myself. Like, she's a great friend, but I'm almost like throwing the rest of my social life away and just focusing on this one person. And I sit back and I think, and I'm like, what just happened? Like after I completely got over it, like how I was just completely, I was completely done with it, I just sat back and I'm like, what just happened? Like, I spent all this time just focusing on this one thing that I completely blocked out everything else from my life, and I don't even know where my life was at that time. And it happens. And that's what people act like when they think they're in love. They think that they can focus on this one thing, and they start blocking out everything else from their life. Like, I want to do everything for this person. I want to do whatever I can to do this. But honestly, what I think is that when you say that you're in love with someone, you're mostly just saying you're addicted to something. I mean, saying that you're in love with something can also be like a derogatory term. Or I think that's how you use that word. Whatever. Like, you say, alright, I'm in love with country music. I mean, you just really love country music. Or, I'm in love with Justin Bieber. You really like his music, or whatever that whole trend was about. But for high school, sometimes when you say that you're in love, you're just starting to get addicted to things. This is from my own personal opinion and what I have just seen. Like when you say you're in love with someone, and then you have a conversation with someone, it always brings their name up. It always has something to do about them, and then all of a sudden you're just like mixed into this bull crap that you just really don't want to dig yourself into. Like, if you keep digging and digging with this whole in love thing, you're eventually going to reach the bottom of the pit and you're never going to get out. Well, unless someone comes by and saves you. But I completely understand that there are some situations where a lot of people, they get together with someone, and then they're with them through high school, and then they're with them through college, and then they get married, have kids. Those situations are possible. I mean, I've seen plenty of situations where that can be possible. But almost 90% of the time, it just means that you're addicted to something or someone. And I don't believe that people should just throw their life away just because they're saying they're in love with someone. Now, going back to what I said before, I'm not calling relationships bad. The whole point of this video is I think there is a point in some relationships where things can get out of control. And that also has a part to do with someone saying that they are in love with someone. For example, someone starts dating this one person and they think they're in love with them and they'll do anything they want. And a part of a relationship that happens to you when you're doing that is you're trying to see the good in someone and trying to block out the bad. But sometimes that bad that you're not seeing is getting worse and worse around your friends. And then all of a sudden it just like spirals out of control and your friends are starting to get uncomfortable with it. And when they try to warn you, like, oh man, this girl just gets too jealous. This girl is just starting to control you. They'll start to get in denial, just like, maybe they'll say something like, oh dude, you're just jealous because she's dating me. Just like, no, I'm trying to warn you before things get worse. At that point that you get into a relationship, when someone starts to control you, or acts like your mother at least, really, really takes a turning point, especially in a bunch of like outside friendships and a lot of other situations that you can give out. I have an example. I have this friend. He's probably going to hate me for telling this on YouTube, but maybe this will be some kind of a wake-up call for him. I have this friend who is dating this one girl, and she's nice sometimes. But then all of a sudden, there's like situations that come out, and then they're like saying, oh, you can't do this, oh, you can't do that, and they just start acting like a complete bitch, and they're acting like your mother, like you already have one, you don't need another one, or maybe you have two and you don't need a third one. God, that was bad. Anyway, getting past that whole thing. Anyway, you don't need another parent in your life. That's what I meant. But when a girl or a guy, excuse me, I should be more open-minded. If a girl or a guy decides to just start controlling you, or just starts just like getting super jealous and like saying that, like every time, maybe like if you're a guy, then if a girl even looks at you and she walks up to her and go, stop looking at my boyfriend, yes, the person who's watching this, yes, I'm using that example. Anyway, if she starts to get that jealous and also starts to control you like, or at least tries to control you like that, you should take it as a red flag and see it as like a warning sign that if you continue to do this, you're not going to have control of your life anymore, and she's just going to keep, or he or she is just going to keep controlling you, and eventually you're just going to be her puppet, and she's going to be your puppet master. For example, the movie Saving Silverman. The guy meets this one girl, well, actually set up by her friends, and all of a sudden she realizes she can control him by, I don't know, using sex or whatever. Or whatever she does to control him. He completely loses sight of what is actually happening to him, and his friends try to help out by, actually, I'm not even going to spoil the movie. You guys can go watch it. It's a really funny movie. I'm just going to leave it as his friends try to help him out and completely screws them over. You never know. Go watch the movie to see what I'm talking about, because that is a pretty solid piece of evidence. And it's showing how sometimes relationships can get out of hand and how some people can be controlling. I have another example that I kind of want to share out. Now, I have two friends. Well, one of these is the same friend. Both kind of have girlfriends that I sometimes can't stand. Well, one of them knows. They just like to torture me. They're like the torture couple. But all of a sudden, you find yourself. I find myself worrying about one relationship. Like, this is probably going to get out of hand. This is just like making him a worse person. All of a sudden, I turn around and I realize, crap, I'm focusing on worrying about the wrong relationship. This is how all of the friends come into play, where they want to help out their friend if they're in trouble, right? Sometimes when they have a girlfriend, they have to go, okay, I gotta respect them, I gotta do all this. But sometimes when the girlfriend is a complete bitch to you, then you're just like, wait, why am I respecting this? And why is he putting up with this? I mean, going back to my example with the two relationships, one, I think they're just using to get at me, and you know who I'm talking about. But, like, I was kind of worried about them for a second. And all of a sudden I see this other group of friends where all of a sudden there's a complete control situation. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm starting to respect this relationship, more than this one. And that's how you know things are getting out of hand. Those friends that are watching this right now, I do respect you. I do respect the one friend who were kind of torturing me, or at least trying to. What I'm saying is, sometimes there is a breaking point. And I'm not saying they should break up. There are some people who actually like that kind of situation. There are relationship situations where, like, they like to get at each other because they like each other. That's how some relationships work out. I mean, they do like to mess with each other, or maybe they do like to mess with their friends sometimes. I mean, and I'm trying as hard as I can, trying to cope with this, because sometimes it just gets out of hand, and it's really hard for me to try to cope with something that I can't stand. Yes, I have gotten better. I have gotten completely better with the one group of friends, and you guys know who, and that friend knows who I'm talking about. I have gotten completely better. Like, I've just, like, started to try to be nice to her, and I feel like it's getting better. The other friend with his girlfriend, not so much. And I hope you guys get what I'm saying. There's a breaking point, and sometimes that you think you're blinded by love, or whatever the hell you call it, that you completely block out your other friends and how they're feeling just so you can stay with this one person. And sometimes it's just complete bullshit. Now, I'm not just going to sit here and say that all relationships are bad, you should never date in high school. Like I said, I completely disagree with that statement. I mean, I do think it's good that some people actually do date in high school. I mean, you need that experience for when you're going to get up and, like, talk to some random girl or guy in a bar or something like that. You also need the practice for when you're, like, going to get married and have kids. I mean, you need that experience, and I feel like high school is actually a really good place to practice that. I haven't been doing it much recently, but I do feel like it is a good thing for some people to do. Hell, even my drama teacher says he wants his kids to date at least 2 or 3 people before they eventually get married. And I respect his decision. I mean, I completely get where he's coming from. But sometimes there is a breaking point that you do want to separate yourself from that person when things just get worse. Now, there are a lot of great things that you can do with relationships. Like, for one, have someone who always sticks by your side. I mean, you always have someone to talk to. You always have someone in your life to go to if you need help with, like, life and stuff like that. 2, like I said before, it gives you the experience that you need for when you start to mature and when you start to get into other relationships and stuff like that. 3, it boosts your confidence. I don't have that much confidence. That's kind of why I don't really go to a lot of relationships and stuff. But it does boost your confidence, so you think that you actually know what you're doing. But if you get to the point where you think that you're in love with someone, then that's kind of crossing the line a little bit. I'm mostly just talking from high school standards. I know that when you grow up and you're like 21 or something, then you can be in love. I mean, I feel like they have a better understanding of what love is more than high schoolers do. I mean, my advice for those people who wish they could get in a relationship, and I wish I could follow my advice sometimes, if there's someone that you just want to talk to, that you wish you could talk to, just go for it. I mean, there are some situations that would kind of get bad. There will be situations where you get denied. And that's been a personal fear of mine for a long time. I'm afraid to fail. I'm afraid to say the wrong thing. If you really want it, then go for it. Or else you're just going to sit back, and then this one person's just going to go off with someone else, or maybe even like you hung around them too much or something like that and start to call you a creep or something like that, or thinking that you're a creep. Basically, there will be rough spots. But if you're willing to take it, then go for it. It's my advice. I mean, I know it's not much coming from a guy who's never been in a relationship before, but it's the best. It's the best I can give. It's always risky when trying to get into a relationship. But if that's a risk that you are willing to take, then take it. I have been taking risks a lot in my life. I mean, there are so many risks, especially with talking to girls, because I'm not very good at it. I mean, there are so many risks that I have taken in my life that completely screwed me over. Like, there are some mistakes that I made and some risks that I took way back when that I wish I could take back, but I can't. There were risks that I chose to take, and it got me into this position. But sometimes you just gotta make the best out of it. I mean, I'm trying to. But sometimes it just doesn't work. I'll probably cover taking risks in another POV video. But if it's a risk that you are willing to take to get into a relationship, then go for it. That's the best advice that I can give. And to those who don't really want to date, that really don't want to get into that type of situation, I respect that. I'm almost doing just fine on my own. If you feel like that there's nothing wrong with saving yourself until college. But let's kind of roll back to the main question. Like, let's get off the advice. But the main question of this is, do any of us know what love really is? And is there a breaking point in a relationship where if things get too bad, that you just might have to end it? Well, for that second question, I say yes. I mean, I've been saying that this entire video. If someone starts to control you, if someone starts to basically act like your parent, if someone gets jealous a little too easily, that might be a red flag, saying that either maybe you should move on, or maybe even get him help. I mean, if you really do care about this one person, then help him out. I mean, just because they have these flaws does not mean they're all bad. It doesn't mean they're completely evil. There's obviously some good inside of them. And you can either break it, or you can help them out. I mean, it's up to you. It's up to you how you want to live out your relationship. I'm not going to get in the way of you guys having your own relationship with someone. But sometimes, you just got to pay attention and see how it's affecting the rest of your life. Like, don't just be zoned in on this one person, like 24/7. Don't become so obsessed with someone that you're completely blocking out the rest of your life. What I'm saying is, sometimes when you feel like things are getting out of hand, stop. Look around and see how it's affecting you. Then you make the decision. And for those high schoolers that are watching this right now, and you kind of think you know what love is, I really think you don't. It's much more complicated than you think. It's much more complicated of thinking like, oh, I'll do whatever I can for this one person. It's not just that. I mean, I can't even give a full definition of what love is. But I know it's not just that. I mean, I think it's physically impossible to be in love with someone in high school. Like, I thought I was in love at one point, but it completely screwed me over. That's basically all I wanted to say on this topic, you guys. Sometimes when you feel like you're in love, or you're listening to your friends saying that this relationship is just affecting them badly, just stop, look around, and see how it's affecting the rest of your life. That's pretty much all I wanted to say. Thank you guys so much for watching this POV video. If you guys like this, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Do what you guys do in that YouTube. Follow me on Twitter, @OperationGamer1. All that cool stuff. My favorite comment from last POV video was, "Baseball will never be a bad word!" From Austin. Thank you, Austin. I was giving an analogy, but thank you. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.